Look closely. But what have I been telling you? The closer you look, the less you see.
Oh
Wow.
my God.
Oh wow, nice
Uh,
thought.
So, hi everyone. Welcome back to fourth episode of the Hi-Fi Pods. Today it's a special episode because we have a guest with us, Eklavya Ramachandran. Um, so this is the first time we have someone to talk to us, and he is going to talk to us about magic. So don't mind if this podcast is going to be in English. So this is a little change. So yeah, before we jump into questions, Eklavya, tell our viewers something about yourself.
Uh, Hi. Okay. I'm really sorry because my Hindi is pathetically terrible. So अगर मैं हिंदी में बात करूँगा तो आप वीडियो ऑफ करते जाएंगे. So hence I'll be talking in English only.
Yeah, that's
Um,
okay.
All right.
so yeah. I'm what people call a street magician, or trying to be a street magician to be more exact. So, what's the difference between traditional magicians and street magicians? Traditional magicians need a stage. They have different props,
Hmm.
and they do
If
different kind of tricks based on a particular orientation or an order. Whereas a street magician, it's more natural. It's more like you're in any place, you can show any sort of tricks, and get audience is going to be all around you, whereas in a stage there are particular angles of setting where the audience will be seated, and there's a lot of technicalities involved. Street magic is a little more as I said before, natural, and it's easy to um, start and stop at the same time. Stage magic requires hours of preparation of setting up before the show and after. Street magic is more of setting yourself up, like self confidence and
Hmm.
pretty much a deck of cards, and that's all you need. And in this, I am just a card magician. There are so many types of magic. You can do it. You can do it with coins, strings. In fact, if someone's wearing a suit, you can even do it with their tie. So I only use cards because I really like the feel of card magic.
Hmm.
Hence, yeah, that's a little bit about me. I'm doing my third year in BSc economics, which I have no idea how it's relevant to what I'm talking about now, but I'm just going to put it out there so that all the conservative people here think that I'm not jobless and actually I'm doing something in my life. Yeah, that's me.
Okay. All right. So
oh, all
yeah.
right, all right.
So this was Eklavya. So Eklavya, before we start the questions, would you like us to see a magic trick of yours? Or
So this is actually a pretty famous trick. You see it and now you see me in the first this thing where you say, you know, look closely. But what have I been telling
Uh,
you? The closer you look, the less you see.
oh
wow.
my God.
Oh wow, nice
Uh,
thought.
Oh my God.
so
Oh my
that's
god.
basically how it works. So that again, this is where I like magic of what in like at least of what happens in magic,
Hmm.
because technically speaking, magic is not something great you're doing. It's just you're just fooling someone, and usually
Hmm.
fooling someone is taken in a very negative way. Like if I cheat you, that would be not such a great thing, right? You won't really
Hmm.
like it.
Yeah, I'll start with the questions.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, Eklavya, how did you start your journey as a magician? Like, what made you learn magic and how did you start it?
I want to say I want to so I'd really like to say this that I had nothing else to do in life. I was very determined. I had to take this forward. I was passionate, and there's not, but none of that will be true. Honestly, in 11th grade, I was very bored, and I was in a boarding school. We didn't have any form of technology until like
Yeah.
only on Saturdays we'll have like one movie.
Hmm.
So basically, we did whatever we wanted to. And 11th grade, mein, our it was more on developing. So I studied in an alternate education school. So in 11th grade, they believed you need not study for 12th. You do like the basics, just pass your 11th grade exams, chill. You and you they had this whole this thing about understanding yourself and exploring your interests.
Hmm.
So that time, I remember that what I ended up doing was I started. So you had to try all sorts of hobbies, and I already do a little bit of music. So
Hmm.
my coordinator said, "Why not try something different?" I tried art, ended up destroying the art block. I tried a lot of other things, ended up destroying a lot of other things. So then once when I was playing Uno cards with my juniors,
Hmm.
I was just like, I show you something cool, and then I literally fooled them, and then I just felt good about it. They were also like, "Hey, nice, how do you do it?" And then I was like, "Wait, maybe I can do magic." And then I just gave it a try. Then saw a little bit of tutorials, and then started. I started with a classmate of mine also, so both of us continue doing it together. Yeah,
All right.
that's how it all started. So that's the journey of my.
And
So I'm interested in knowing what are the different types of magic. So can you please tell us?
Okay, as I said before, the basic this thing is the basic kind of differential you can do is there is street and there's stage. Now I don't know that much about stage magic, but so I'll go into my like the area I know best, street magic. So in street magic, there's card magic, there's coin magic. You can use cup symbols, etc. In that, I'm going into card magic. So
Nice.
in card magic, there are two classifications. One, it's classified on whether on what system do they work in, and the second classification is on how on the technique they work in. So in the system, whether it's in how the system of the trick works, the trick comes in whether it's sleight of hand as in where you use your hands to misdirect audience. Then there's a little bit of mentalism where I do something and then I try to read your mind and then get it. Or there is just pure mathematical tricks, right? Where I use maths or some sort of calculation to get your card or what fulfill my objective. The other side is where based on how it's done, on whether it's pure. So again, there it's just two types. Whether I have a particular arrangement so that I can fulfill. When I say fulfill my objective, that is finish that trick or fool you, to be more exact. So it's either using misdirection or it's at the moment. It's called impromptu tricks where there is no setup, there's nothing. I just come to you and say, "Hey, I want to show you a magic trick," and the magic trick happens right in front of you. The misdirection part of the place where I cheat you happens right in front of your face, and you just don't realize it.
Eklavya, when I hear about magic, is wherein topic comes in my mind where people don't talk about black magic. So, what's your take on black magic? How do you perceive it? Like how you see black magic?
Um, I'm just hoping there are no spirits around me that curse me for saying this. But black magic is really um, so there again. So there's a difference between black art and black magic. So people refer to so what is black art? Black art is basically using the color black to make things appear, disappear, something that you is again to fulfill an objective. Black art is based, so there's something called absolute black, which means you cannot, it's pure black. So even the black t-shirts that you wear, they have a little bit of other colors so that it's shiny. Black, absolute black does not shine. It's just like staring at something so black that your eyes will have zero light bouncing back at it. So
all right.
using that, they will, if they have a hand over here and there's a black screen behind, they'll just put something black in front suddenly and it'll look like the hand disappear. You must have seen a lot of magicians in shows do that. That is black art. Black magic is when some unholy god decides, or you sign a deal with the devil and you say, "I'm going to curse you until unless you do this." That's black magic. And what I have to say on black art, great performances. What I have to say about black magic, please don't include me in it.
Nice.
All right.
Uh,
So,
exactly.
uh,
Actually, I didn't know about it. About the difference between black art and
black
black
art and
magic.
black art.
That's,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
very
really
interesting.
good.
Yeah.
that's something new for us.
Hmm. So,
Glad. I mean,
So Eklavya, I've seen magicians. They keep storytelling while they perform magic. So, how much storytelling plays an
right.
important role while performing magic with audience?
Um, you do tell a little bit of stories, and some stories are of real events, or some stories are just made up in your head. And stories are about as important as, I don't know, putting salt into your food, because it's a little bit of it, but it makes a huge difference. Um,
hmm.
so because without a story, there's no. So okay. Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Uh, what when you let's say you're a magician and you want to perform a magic trick to someone, what is your objective?
To perform magic, maybe.
Okay,
Modern question require modern solutions.
like what is your what is your no, what is the objective, like what is your what
just to
end
basic,
result do you want?
just to basically trick the audience.
Correct.
to
Why are you tricking the audience?
Because if I couldn't trick them, then they will catch my basic USP of magic,
Cool.
which I'm trying to show them.
Okay, now let's go on a broader this thing and say, just imagine, even if you can't tell a story and you're just showing something, and let's assume that you're too good to get caught. Okay, because the amount of practice a magician puts, it's usually difficult to find out unless you have like some super brain or something, or you have way too much of common sense, which is not good for my job. So my the thing is, what is the greater objective? Why do you do why does anyone do magic? Or okay, okay, you know what, the better question is, why do you come and look at magic tricks?
Because actually it interests a lot.
Exactly.
Getting fooled is actually interesting in magic.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the, the reason you're coming is not to get fooled. The reason you're
Yeah.
coming is because you want to be entertained, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
The
also
whole
true.
point or objective of magic, when I come to an audience, I don't come just to fool them. My end objective is that they feel entertained, and once they go back, they're like, "Arey yaar, I saw a magic trick today. It just gave me that satisfaction." So the end result is the consumer, or the audience is satisfied, and they are attentive, and they have involvement. And to get that, you need a story, because
Hmm.
if I just show you some dry magic tricks without me speaking, like for example, the same trick what I did, just give me 1 second. I'll show you like a simple demonstration without this thing, and I'll go slow so that you can actually see what's happening. You might actually figure it out because it's pretty simple. So hang on, this is weird. So in this deck of cards, let's say I'm just taking this, okay? I give it a snap, I close it, I give it another snap, and when I open it, the card changes.
Uh,
Okay? I'll do the same thing without talking. This is pretty simple talk, and please ignore my t-shirt because I hate this t-shirt. Anyway, so okay, and what I did right now, the whole t-shirt thing,
Hmm.
I have already set up my cards. By the time I finish
Oh.
talking, I've already set up my cards.
Oh,
The t-shirt was very
oh,
irrelevant.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
now let's start again.
oh,
Let's start again. So this time I'm not going to talk, okay? So see what I'm saying? It's a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
dry, and it might still be impressive to look at, but it definitely does not give you as much involvement as a story. The only difference between me and someone who can say, I will look at YouTube tutorials and I will just do the same tricks I do, is that he will not have enough involvement with a spectator, whereas someone who's practiced their talk, or who has a particular setup. I'm not saying the talk should be a complete setup where I plan every sentence, but I'll have a gist of what story to say. That's the importance of a story.
yeah. So,
really.
See the
Eklavya,
question.
Eklavya, I've seen a lot of magicians using a lot of props, like both stage magician and street magicians. Like you use cards to play a magic. So how does it
Right.
prop play important role in a magic, and how does it affect the magic?
Simple. If I don't use props, I'll have to use something else. And if I don't have anything, I'll have to use the items or, a demonstration using the spectator themselves. So if I say, hey, I'm gonna think of one of these cards and I'm gonna read your mind, I'm using the cards as a prop. But instead, if I come and say, bro, I'm gonna read your head and get out all your dark secrets, it'll genuinely freak out the audience, first of all. And secondly, props are it's also easier to use props because if I don't use my own props, I would have practiced this so many times. So practicing using your own props and someone else's props is like a completely different ball game. I can say, hey, so if I'm wearing a suit, I'll just take off the tie and say, hey, so this is a normal tie, even if it is not a trick tie, even if it's like a normal tie, it'll feel friendlier in your hand than someone else's, because you have that assurance in your head that it's, even if you mess up and something wrong goes on with the prop, let's say it breaks or something, I won't be personally held responsible. And that safety itself,
All right.
that whole comfort gives you, you know it gives a better performance out of you because you'd be less scared. Which is why, if any magician takes like Siddharth, let's say give me your glasses, bro, I'll make them disappear, and me taking off my own glasses to make them disappear, I would have practiced 5 to 600 times, and this is not exaggeration, 5 to 600 times with for doing it with a spectator's glass, and I'd have probably just practiced it 100 times with my own. But even though the results might be the same, the amount of practice required for completely involving an audience is different to us, because audiences are really uncontrollable. Honestly, it's like you're directing the flow. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm
So
saying. Yeah,
these are the
getting
three factors of using props.
yeah.
So, Eklavya, you said before that you are a street magician, and you also said
Right?
what is the difference between stage magician and street magician. I want to
Right.
know, why did you choose to become a street magician and not a stage magician?
I don't mind being a stage magician. Will you invest like 5 lakhs on me to get me my own studio, advertising, then proper props for my magic tricks? Then I definitely put up a stage and perform. And you can also you get a free ticket to each show. But street so street magic is more of so street magic is like I have a deck, like literally this is what I've done coming to college. If I have a new trick to try out, I will go to that what do you call that small store near
Jagas,
my not
Jaga.
Jaga, bro, like near Jaga, Hanuman Nagar
Insignificant.
mein. There's this place. Hanuman Nagar mein, there's this near this pharmacy. There's a shop. No, so I'll just get a deck of plastic cards for 70 bucks. My investment is 70 bucks, and I take the same cards to marry it, literally. So let's say I take 3 decks of cards. Okay, 7 threes are 21, right? So
210, yeah.
210. So my investment is 210, and I get paid much more than 210,
Yeah.
definitely. So street magic, while done professionally, pays like you. So as a magician, okay, this is something that I think I'll have to address, because as a magician, there are two major problems that magicians face. One, people think, actually three. One, people think magicians, they come in this black suit and coat and that top hat where they pull a rabbit out. So they think it's for kids, first of all. So people are not interested. Second, is that in India especially, the whole stigma is there with playing cards, where they say cards with matlab teen patti, gambling, etc. So even like in Chennai, I still remember this whole thing where I was performing in a mall, and then the securities like two securities come behind me and catch me and saying, so it's in Tamil, it's like ennapa gambling, ah? And then I'm like, no sir, no sir, no sir, magic sir. And then I get so freaked out, and they actually sit me down in their like the security cabin and ask me like questions. I was being interrogated on
Oh
whether
my God.
I'm gambling and this thing. Luckily I escaped with uh, but I managed to convince them by saying I'm a magician and not a gambler, and plus I was broke, so my wallet was empty. So if they, so because so there's this whole stigma. And the third and the most important thing is, when people want to hire you professionally, they don't want to pay you that much. They're like, "Arey yaar, he's just some dude who jugads around with cards."
Mm-hmm.
And adding to that, magicians come in the like at least to the people who are paying you, they come in the category of independent artists. And as musicians, you know how difficult it is to get a job as an independent artist, right? Because independent artists nowadays equal to broke. So if the money you make is peanuts, the investment you make is the investment you make, or the amount of in money you put on yourself is like really important, right? Because in the end, why am I performing magic? Yes, for your satisfaction, but sir, even I need cash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it depends on how much money you get back. So that's the major reason on why street magic is more applicable. But in why I started, like before I started thinking of going professionally, why I started doing street magic is because it was easy to do. It was more natural. It was more interactive, and yeah, and I could start new conversations. Stage would require setup. It would require a reason. Street magic requires no reason. In fact, I think How I Met Siddharth also was like that only. I was just hanging around with Vikram and Kushal, I think, and then Siddharth comes up. I'm like, bro, check this out, and then I show you a magic. I think that's how we
Yeah.
met. I'm not wrong.
Yeah.